Hey Toros, this is Brenda from the Career Center, and today we're going to talk about a little bit about salary and negotiations, right? So for us, it's our first time landing a big job after graduation, and we want to know what are some tips and strategies to negotiate the salary you feel you deserve. So we'll cover that in today's workshop. So these are some of the areas that we'll cover in today's workshop. So one, we're going to distinguish resources to maintain awareness of the economic trends for your desired industry. In other words, we'll talk about resources that you can utilize to help you determine what folks make in the industry that you want to enter and what is the right amount of pay you should receive. Utilizing these resources will determine an appropriate salary range, right? It's not just utilizing the resource, but it's also connecting it with your experience and education level. And the third thing that we'll cover is developing effective salary negotiation techniques, right? We're gonna give you some tips to help you negotiate and kind of use those tips to hopefully get the salary you deserve and you want. So on the bottom, there's 3 icons, and we're going to cover these icons within the workshop. So NACE is the National Association of Colleges and Employers, and they do tons of research, and they determine 8 competencies all recent grads should have when they graduate. And so what we've decided in each of our workshops, we're going to cover 3. So we're going to cover communication, career management, right? Because this is a strategy to help with your career management, and critical thinking. So what is a job offer, right? A job offer isn't just like, hey, you have the job. It's a comprehensive package and it includes some of the things listed below. So it not only includes the job that you're going to take and the amount of salary that they're offering, but it includes medical, dental, and vision insurance. It can include life insurance, disability insurance. It can outline vacation, personal days, and holidays, a comprehensive 401k or 403b plan, which means investment in your retirement, investment opportunities. So some companies offer stock options for you to be able to invest in the company. Tuition reimbursement, parking, and other expenses reimbursement, health clubs, dependent care, overtime. These are just some of the opportunities offered in the job, in the comprehensive package, right? So remember, depending on the industry you're entering, this can vary. It's not always listed as it is. It can include some of these pieces or other additional pieces. So these are the considerations you want to have in terms of your salary, and these are some of the resources you can use to conduct your research. So 1, know your strengths, qualifications, and accomplishments as it relates to the industry and to the job that you are taking, right? So what are some of your priorities? In other words, what is the potential range you would want to consider to be the okay range that you're willing to take, right? What is it that you would be willing to take in terms as it relates to your experience and the position? What are things that are going to be important to you? So maybe, is it a certain amount of time off? Is it working? It's not working evenings or weekends, right? So what are those things that are important to you? And with that, along those same lines, are what are your non-negotiables and deal breakers? In other words, what are some things that you need the employer to provide in order to have a successful experience with the company, right? What are the non-negotiables? What are the things that you know, these are my firm yeses? So in order to kind of solve the formula, right, to consider what is the right salary, these are the things you want to consider for yourself. The industry. What is the average pay for someone in a similar position within that industry? The location and cost of living, right? So we live in California and in the Los Angeles area. It is a much higher cost of living if you were to say go out of state, like in Arizona or even in Texas, right? So understanding the cost of living in the area is very important. What are your expenses and your budget, right? What is it you need to live a comfortable life in terms of what you consider to be lived comfortably? What is the current economic climate? In other words, is there room to ask for more, right, within that industry? Comparable job titles, understanding what folks in that industry and similar positions make, and understanding your worth based on your expertise. How does your education, years of experience, certifications, skills align with the position? So all of these areas in combination with those resources can help you determine the ideal salary range. So these are some online resources that you can utilize to get salary information. So for instance, 1, the US Bureau of Labor and Statistics, 2, Glassdoor, salary.com, payscale.com, Own It Online, and the NACE Salary Survey. These are just but a few of the places you can look for information regarding salary. So you probably want to understand, okay, so I know I want to negotiate, but when and how do I negotiate? Remember, you're the one with the power, right, in terms of negotiation. The only time you negotiate salary is when the offer is made. You don't negotiate salary in an interview. Traditionally, a salary is negotiated when the offer is made. Discussing salary too early can make you look more focused on the financial aspect of the position versus the position in itself, right? Yes, the financial aspect's important, but ultimately you lose negotiating power if you're the one to bring salary first, right? Also, if you ask too early, it gives them the space to rescind the offer, and you don't want to risk that. So as you're negotiating salary, you want to remember, you want to demonstrate your qualifications first, negotiate salary afterwards. That gives you more power in terms of the negotiating stance. So you want to be prepared to do that once the offer has been made. If they ask about salary during interview, which happens sometimes, you want to express 2 things. First, you want to express expectations to be paid in line with current market conditions and your experience level. This is where that research comes in line, right? This should be part of your interview prep research, is to understand the salary for this type of position, just in case they ask you. And second, you can always ask what their expected salary range is, right? So you can ask them, like, that's a very good question. Can you tell me what you all are expecting to play in terms of the range for this position? So the salary question, right? These are the things that you want to think about. So in some applications, employers may ask your salary requirements and or salary history on the application in itself, right? And the reason they do that is because they want to know what your perception is. And again, this is why the research is important for you to do in terms of what someone in a similar position can make in that role. Some may not consider you if you don't list your salary requirements. So don't avoid it. If it's listed in the application, please list your salary history, and never lie about your salary history. Sometimes students think, or emerging professionals think, that if I bump up my salary, it's better opportunity for me. Sometimes they can verify your salary. So for instance, if I'm conducting a reference check, that's a question we ask, what the candidate made previously in their role. In doing so, if it's reflect differently from the application, then that can cause problems. If you're during the interview, again, you want to reiterate your interest in the position, but you also want to make sure that the pay is aligned with current market trends and experience level. You want to ask what's their expected salary range, and let the employer know you prefer to wait to discuss salary until both have determined if you are the best fit for the job. So remember, sometimes you may go through an interview and decide you don't want the position, or you may not be a good fit, right? So it's best to wait on the salary discussion until the position is offered to you and there's an official job offer. So now you've gotten the job offer, right? Now what? Take your time to think over the job offer, at least 24 hours. Weigh your pros and cons, and again, revisit those non-negotiables and priorities for yourself. You want to thank the employer for the offer and express your interest, but ask for time, right? It's very important for you to go through and thoroughly review the job offer, and it should be given to you in writing. So remember, the negotiation process is a conversation and a partnership, right? It's not an opportunity to see who. You don't want to strong arm them into a position, and they don't want to be felt, they don't want to feel that way, right? You want to both walk away happy, and you want to work collaboratively on the process and kind of come to some accordance that you both agree upon. You want to be friendly but assertive, and again, you want to demonstrate that research. Don't underestimate your worth. Understand your education, your experience, your specialized knowledge, and the research you've conducted to understand what is an expected salary range for that position. Carefully review the job offer, understand the benefits, make sure to ask questions before accepting or negotiating an offer. In other words, if there's something that's not clear or is not stated in the job offer package, this is an opportunity to ask before you accept or decline the job offer. Have a predetermined salary range in mind early in the process. So in other words, you may want to start thinking about salary, especially because oftentimes positions may not list the salary range in the position description. You may want to start conducting your research, using the resources we listed earlier in the slides in the interview process. You already want to have that in mind, because in case you do have the offer, you kind of have some opportunities to negotiate if you have the research and you're prepared to understand the salary range you want. What happens when the offer is less than expected? And that may happen, right? In some industries, especially within nonprofit and education, they may offer you a little less, right? So what do you do then? So remember to maintain a professional attitude and composure and thank them for the offer. Again, you want to take time to evaluate, right? Is this something that isn't negotiable? Sometimes getting paid a little less, but there's an opportunity for growth or other perks that may make it worthwhile, right? Remember, at least 24 hours. You want to sleep on it, discuss with the significant other or partner, family to see if this is feasible. Ask for a higher salary and help them understand why. So again, if you notice throughout this presentation, I've been saying the importance of justifying it through your research. Based on your experience and current market trends, this is why you deserve that higher salary. And then provide a salary range that's slightly higher than you're willing to accept to allow room for negotiation, right? So if the position, if the minimum you're going to accept, for instance, is $55,000 a year, as an example, you may want to negotiate for 57, because that gives room to negotiate if their lower amount is your highest amount, if that makes sense, right? You want to make sure there's negotiables within that space. Now, in some industries, it's not a negotiable. So for instance, teacher candidates, if you're entering K through 12 teaching, they already have a predetermined scale, right? And so and they already have a formula that they utilize in terms of years of experience and education to determine what is the amount that you will get paid. However, you possibly can negotiate if you have additional certifications or training. Okay, so it just really depends on the industry, and you need to be aware of that as well as part of your research. So here's an example of Joe, right? So let's meet Joe. He's ready to take a job offer, and this is a conversation he's had. So he's kind of slept on it, and this is what he's conducting his research, and this is his response to the employer. I'm extremely excited about the job offer. I think your company is a good fit for me, and the position would be a wonderful opportunity. However, I'm hoping we can discuss the current salary offer. I have conducted some research on salaries for similar positions in this area, and based on my educational background and previous experience, I was hoping for a salary range between $54,000 and $58,000. Please let me know if you can help me with this. All right, or you can always say, please let me know if we can discuss this. So this is a perfect example as to how you can negotiate the salary amount. Well, what if the salary is set, right? What's an additional request that you can possibly negotiate? So if the salary can't be negotiated, for some folks, it's already an allotment within their budget, it's a fixed amount. These are some other areas of the packet that you may want to try, right? Maybe changing the evaluation period or probationary period because of your experience. So maybe the traditional evaluation period is a year, but because you are coming with experience, maybe you can get it down to 6 months. Maybe you can negotiate more vacation or time off, or investment or stock options, or even a sign-on bonus, right? If that's not feasible for them to negotiate the salary. While negotiating, remember to pay attention to the employer's body language, facial expression, tone, moments of silence, and word usage. All of these can kind of help you understand if they're interested in helping you negotiate, if they're not, if they're firm. These are all things you need to kind of pay attention to as you're negotiating or attempting to negotiate the salary. Negotiations are done, and now you want to accept the offer, right? If you're accepting the offer, you want to have this agreement in writing. So once the negotiating is done, you want to make sure they are giving you an official offer letter or contract that outlines the job offer. Once you accept the offer and you're still, let's say this is part of the process, if you've been interviewing at multiple places, you want to stop or withdraw from all other interviews and commit to the position that you've accepted. And here are some final tips. Remember, throughout the process, not only negotiating, but interviewing, you want to sell your skills and experience throughout that process. You're not making demands, you're having a friendly conversation, right? You are not in a position to make a demand. Instead, you are requesting, it's an ask. And you want to make all of those asks at once, right? So you don't want to keep going back and forth, but instead say, this is what I would like to further discuss and clarify the importance to you, right? Set realistic expectations, right? We would all love to make $200,000 a year. However, depending on the industry and our experience, that might not be the case. So you want to set realistic expectations. Be tactful and professional. Because remember, they can still rescind the offer if you're not, right? So if you don't have it in writing, you haven't signed on, they can choose to go with another candidate. And don't go multiple rounds of keep counter offering, right? So if you've made all of this is why it's important to make all of your asks up front first, is to avoid going back and forth. You want to make sure each of you are highlighting what are the important, the priorities for each of you, and to understand what the non-negotiables are. And thank you so much. I hope you found this session helpful. Our contact information is listed on the screen. You can visit us. We have moved to Welch Hall. There's our phone number and our email. Visit our website. On our website, we have our virtual lobby that's open Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 p.m. Someone can assist you virtually. Make sure you follow us on social media and check out our YouTube channel for additional career development videos and other sessions we've recorded. I hope you found this session helpful in helping you navigate how to negotiate your salary and your benefits package. Remember, the Career Center is here to help you. Take care and stay well.